Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie.
Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. For more information on how the CCIDA can assist your business, visit choosechq.com.
From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives.
Is getting vaccinated on your to-do list? We can help you check it off because we make getting vaccinated easy. You've got this because we've got you. To learn more, visit yougotthis.usaging.org.
From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. Do I look different? Yes, I did. I got my quarterly haircut this week. I get a haircut 4 times a year, whether I want to or not. When you're married to a second-generation cosmetologist and your daughter is a third-generation cosmetologist, you don't have much say in whether you get a haircut or not. Anyways, it was getting pretty long. So I hope you're all doing well. Good morning wherever you are. Good afternoon in the world. I always get this wrong. I think, what do we decide? It's Australia is tomorrow or close to it. Good afternoon to all our viewers in Europe, especially Natalia over in Ukraine. You know what that means, hang tough. My family and friends and associates over in, the Netherlands, Belgium, Ireland, wherever you are, good afternoon. Glad you could join us. If in anywhere you are in the United States and watching, it's all those, I think, everybody's good morning in the United States right now. So that's just great to have you join us today. We got an interesting show in store for you, a little different than we've done in the past, so I encourage you to stay tuned. I want to say good afternoon to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people in Jamestown, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. You get to hear our voices, but you can't see us. So if you want to see us, you got to go to YouTube, look up today's date, and then you can find us at the video version as well. But what we have to say is something that usually has something to do with the whole county, so it's just not necessarily for around here. Throughout the show, many of you know this, and some of you do take advantage of it. You can give us a call if you have a question, comment, which has to be civil. Give us a call at 716-753-5225. And I'm happy to say that we are in, 11 and a half years now, and we've always had very kind and gentle people comment and ask questions, and we act nice to each other. So you can always ask a question, just always make sure it's nice. That's all. So throughout the week, I'll keep that up for one more second. It's like magic, isn't it? You can email me or the team here at Chautauqua Sunrise, all one word, at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com, and we will get your announcements information on the air, okay? Free of charge. So again, today 716-753-5225. You can give us a call. Your club or organization's having a fundraiser, chicken barbecue, raffles, whatever, we'll get it on. This week, weather-wise, it's kind of brutal. You know, we always say, oh, winters aren't too bad. Well, they aren't too bad. This is really sort of old-fashioned kind of a winter. I mean, this is stuff I remember growing up as a kid. The only difference is this ice. Holy cow, Justin, we were just talking on the air. We had snow come off our roofs the other day, landed, and then instead of me getting the tractor and moving that snow, no, I'll get it to the next day. It froze overnight like concrete. I kicked it. I thought I was going to break my ankle. Then I got the tractor, tried to move it. That didn't work very well. So finally I had to put some ice melt on some of these piles, and finally we got it moved. But where I'm going with this is that this cold weather is really raising havoc with a lot of situations, especially black ice. You know, you get up about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, go to work, and you don't realize that ice is just thick enough that if you're coming down a hill or if you're making a quick turn, you know, you're going to be all over the road. So please kind of check the road conditions before you go out the door, especially, you know, it's starting to get daylight a little bit more now in the morning, but still, if you're getting up early and getting to work early, you may not see it. What's one good thing, Jeff? All right, this is breaking news. Jeff, our engineer, he's my Scotty from Star Trek. He informed me that by the time we get to the end of the month of February, we will have gained an hour of daylight. And that's a short month. So that's great. I've noticed the days are getting daylight. The days are still the same amount of time. It's the daylight. Yes, we have. Yes, on both sides. I'm talking to Jeff right now. All right. So anyways, be careful of the black ice. Today was 17 degrees. It's been really, really cold. Here's one too. I don't know if you have pets, especially the dogs. They like to go rearing out the door and running around like crazy and zooming. Brody, Mr. Brody that you always see in the beginning of the show, he was in four paw drive the other day. He was sliding all over the place. He had to slow down, and his little paws were going 100 miles an hour to stay put. So I said, come on, let's get back on the blacktop. So they can break their legs. They can sprain things, so just be mindful of that as well. All right, hey, I don't have to tell anybody this. Buffalo Bill time, right? Josh Allen, MVP. Wow, I don't want to hear about it. Quiet over there, quiet. I'm surrounded by infidels. Poor Jeff and I, we have to put up with this all year. The Bears, the Miami Dolphins, the Vikings. Well, anyways, Josh Allen, wow, that was quite an honor. I don't know this. I'm not sure if any other Buffalo Bill has ever gotten an MVP. I don't know if Jim Kelly did or not, but no, okay. Thurman Thomas, did he get it? Okay. But not as a quarterback, right? You know, so he would have got it for MVP for offensive player probably. Anyways, nice honor, congratulations. You know, it didn't get the Super Bowl, but at least, you know, that was high honors, and that brings a nice lift to the regions, because I know there's just so many Buffalo Bills fans for the most part. And so my closing comment on this topic is go Philly, go Philly, go Philly. All right, we're hoping to get a phone call on this, but we may or may not. So I'll just do a little quick note on this. Ice Castle is in full swing, and I'm told that it's looking pretty good. Last week, Randy, I think, reported it was at the 8-foot mark. I don't know where it's at now, but it's going to be next weekend. And I can encourage you to follow the newspapers. We're hoping a representative of the Ice Castle Committee will be calling in this morning, but I don't know. So if they do, we'll break for breaking news, and we'll get some information on that. But I think it's going to be pretty traditional. I think they're going to have vendors and, you know, food trucks, and there's going to be some winter events, and the weather looks like it's going to be like perfect for this type of event, and so forth. Okay, and then we got Valentine's Day coming up this coming Friday, I believe it is, and so lots of restaurants are offering special deals. One of my underwriters, Meter's Restaurant, reminded me they're going to have some a special set up. They have music with some friends of mine, Eng and Davis. I'm sure many of you have heard of them. Steve Eng and Mark Davis, really, really good musicians. They're going to be performing that evening, and they have a special menu, but you got to call for reservations. Meter's Restaurant, Valentine's Day. So just a little plug for one of my underwriters here. Let's see, what else do I have? All right, let's go to our announcements, and then we're going to get to my guest who's just anxiously waiting to come on, I can tell. All right, so one of my favorite organizations is the Chautauqua Safety Village. All right, so let me make sure I got all this right. Today is February 8th, so that's today. The Chautauqua Safety Village invites you to a delicious night of food and fundraising on February 8th, which is today, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. tonight. This evening, they will be holding a tasty soup cook-off and pie auction. The 2025 year brings an added challenge for the Safety Village, as we did not, this is them talking now, they did not receive a portion of vital funding. The loss directly impacts their fire safety classes. They are not only focusing efforts into fundraising events this year to offset costs, but also asking the community for additional aid in this unique year. So this is my way of providing a donation, is getting the word out. Okay, your support is vital. Come enjoy a tasty meal and help them keep our community safe. Every bite and bid makes a difference. If you cannot attend and would still like to donate, you can go to, all one word, Chautauqua Safety Village. That's all one word, chautauquasafetyvillage.com. And then there's some sites or things you can drill down to volunteering and donating. Personally, I used to be one of the board of directors there and founders of the Safety Village. A lot of people don't know that. And I served on that board for many years, and it is outstanding what they do there. I think the number is somewhere in 4,000 to 5,000 kids a year go through that program and learn about fire, bike, home safety, you name it. They provide all kinds of services. So Jessica and all of our staff there, congratulations, and hope you have a successful event tonight and moving forward. What they do is important for our kids and our families and county. All right, so then I have another announcement. The Chautauqua County Office for Aging Services is pleased to announce the distribution of free National Fuel weatherization kits. They do this quite often, designed to help Western New Yorkers save money on heating bills this winter. With colder months still upon us, these kits are an excellent resource for residents to prepare for the challenges of winter weather. Each weatherization kit contains window insulation, shrink film, a heat and air deflector, vinyl foam weather seal, and electric outlet sealers. Kids are, excuse me, this says kids, it's kits. Who writes these things? Kits are available on a first come. Could you imagine going down there and getting a kid? Kits are available on a first come first basis while supplies last at each of the Mayville, Jamestown, Dunkirk office locations. Any age is welcome to get a kit, and if you have more questions or need information, pop that number up, Jeff. It's New York Connects number 716-753-4582. We have that stock. We do this every week. Again, if you want a weatherization kit, it's free of charge, 716-753-4582. Now, we put new windows in our house a while back, and I thought we were golden. Well, that wind was so strong the other day, I could feel just a tiny bit of air coming through there. I don't know. It was just incredibly strong winds. So I was thinking, I could have used one of those kits too. So anyways, free of charge, easy to install. Check it out if you're interested. All right, moving along, slide 16. This is an interesting one, all right? This is for New York veterans. Okay, if you're a veteran, perk your ears up. Let's see if you're interested. Find out if beekeeping is right for you. New York veterans are invited to join Cornell Cooperative Extension Livestock Management Specialist Amy Barkley to learn more about beekeeping, a free virtual seminar. This will take place on Wednesday, February 26th, coming up, from 6 p.m. to 7:30. So it's only an hour and a half via Zoom. Registration is required by visiting And you got to go to, oh boy, tinyurl.com. Oh boy. Let's make it easier. Give them a call at, let's give you a number, 716-640-0522. And you can give them a call over there. 716-640-0522 if you have any questions. All right. And you can talk to, what was her name? Amy Barkley again. Now, I point this out because lots of people, they don't realize you can do some of these things at home. And Justin, did you realize that we are losing every year bees? Bees are the pollinators. We don't have pollinators. Mankind is in serious trouble. So this might be of some interest to you, so check it out. Cornell Extension, they do great work over there. Okay, next slide. Fun things to do nearby. All right, so fun family winter activities in Chautauqua Lake region. Okay, this is from the Chautauqua County Visitors Bureau. All right, snowy and cold weather got the kids feeling cooped up. Family-friendly winter activities in the Chautauqua Lake region are a great way to get the kids out and about while making fun family memories. All right, so what do we got here? Let's go to Peak. Lunar lights tubing at Peak. Sounds like fun. While snow tubing at Peak is fun at all times, tubing during lunar light nights makes the fun to a whole new level. It takes it to a whole new level. Enjoy sliding down the 7-lane hill as it is lit up by thousands of colorful LED lights that pulse and fade, along with music. Oh, this has got to be cool. Played on immersive sound systems. Hop on their magic carpet lift, which works on a conveyor belt as it carries you and your tube back up to the top of the hill for your next ride. Lunar Lights tubing is available Fridays through Mondays. Fuel up after your night of fun with dinner from one of the several dining options available right at the resort. Okay, so check that out. Then we go on to the Audubon Center. All right, winter camps at the Audubon Nature Center. Plan a day of exploring for your little ones during the Audubon's winter camp days. On select dates, kids can enjoy time playing outdoors, being active, and learning about the winter season. Kids will learn how animals survive during the winter months, and which animals are most active, the properties of snow and ice, and a whole lot more. Give them a call for make a reservation. And I digress for a moment. In a footnote, I was out checking out my apple trees, and I have to trim those every year. The deer have already started, so they got the bottom branches. I'll get to the top ones later this week. They're hungry. Ice skating at the Northwest Arena in Jamestown is a fun activity for the whole family. Enjoy a leisurely loop around the park during their scheduled public skate time. Skate rentals are available, I think we've mentioned this before, as well as skate trainers to help stabilize first-time skaters or people like me that fall all the time. Then kids will also enjoy riding and driving ice bumper cars at the arena. Hop in a colorful ice bumper car to whirl around the ice as you chase down your friends and family for some good old-fashioned fun. That would be fun. Ride sessions last 10 minutes. Kids must be at least 3 years old to ride with an adult and 6 years old. And 6 years old, and meet a height requirement to drive alone. It's sort of like Disneyland. Complete your visit with a trip to the cafe and so forth for a snack. And then what else we got here? So just keep up on the various things that are going on. Oh, take a break. You can also go to the National Comedy Center in Jamestown and enjoy some things that are going on there. And as you know, there's all kinds of other kinds of winter festivals. And if you want to check out things as you're going along, especially if you're visiting, you can go to Tour Chautauqua, all one word, tourchautauqua.com, and see what else is going on. So with that, I'm going to take a breather. We're going to have a little break, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. we'll have to play that again sometime. We had a little technical difficulty in that. All right, so I want to welcome to my show someone. We were trying to figure this out. We've known each other close to 30 years, and we're going to celebrate her career in some of the firsts that maybe we're experiencing in our part of the county. So, Lauree Pless, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Lauree, I don't know when we first met. I think we were both special education teachers or something like that, way back in the 80s, anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so you've been involved with education for a long time. So, where are you from, and where'd you go to school and all that good stuff?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Erie, Pennsylvania. Graduate of McDowell High School in the Mill Creek system. So I grew up there, and then I came into New York State and basically haven't left New York State since I graduated from high school. So I ended up going to college at Fredonia State and got my degree in teaching, special education, just like you did.
I went to upstate. Fredonia has special ed?
Yeah. Well, what ended up happening was I did my bachelor's degree there, and then I ended up going to Albany and got my master's degree in special education.
So you're dual certified like I am.
I'm dual certified. Yeah. Elementary ed, social studies, and then special education. And after that, I taught for almost 15 years, primarily at Fredonia School District. So then I did what you did, and I jumped into the administrative bandwagon and decided...
Someone said, went to the dark side.
Went to the dark side, exactly. And so I decided to pursue my administrative degree, and I did that also at Fredonia State.
With Bob Heichberger, Dr.
Bob,
Heichberger.
Absolutely, Dr. Heichberger. Thank goodness for Dr. Heichberger. So so I did that, and then I was really fortunate at Fredonia. The position of Director of Special Education / Director of Student Activities, which was basically a vice principal, came open, and I applied for it, and I ended up getting that position, and I served in that role for almost 4 years until I then went to Westfield. I was their elementary principal for 4 years. And then when Peggy Sauer, you remember Peggy?
Oh, Peggy, yes.
Yeah, she was the superintendent. She retired, so then I ended up becoming the superintendent at Westfield for 4 years. And after 4 years, I ended up going to Amherst Central School District.
Amherst?
Yep.
Outside of Buffalo?
Yep, the first string suburb outside of Buffalo. I was there almost 10 years.
Holy cow.
As their superintendent. Retired 9 years ago, this February, actually. Yeah, 9 years ago now.
I shouldn't say that's hard to believe, because I've been retired going on 18 years.
I know.
When you start to think about it, in some cases that we've been retired longer than we did certain other things, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Do you regret retiring?
No, I don't regret retiring. Do you regret retiring? No. I mean, there's things I miss about it. You develop relationships and you get to know people, and I did love the work. I mean, it was just so rewarding and challenging and everything else. But I was ready. I was ready to move on. And we also had some family situations. We needed to come back to this part of the state. We had some illness in the family, and so the timing was right for us to come back and just settle here.
So what got you into special education? I mean, people ask me that question all the time.
Do they? Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a field that everybody goes into.
Well, you know what? Like you, I was really interested in music. And so I initially was looking at going into music therapy at Fredonia State. And
what's your instrument?
Guitar and voice.
You didn't tell me this.
Well, I'm sorry.
Jeez, all this time I never knew you played guitar.
But my grandfather was a very wise man, and he sat down with me, and he basically said to me, I understand your desire and love for music, and I encourage you to continue that, but think about your job opportunities using it. What is it that you really want to do? And I really wanted to use music to work with either adults or children or students, in a hospital setting or something that really needed support. I was never looking at performing, really. So he said to me, well, why don't you think about maybe like a special education certification, but maintain your music? And then you can use your music, which is what I ended up doing.
How did he know about that?
I have very wise.
Was he an educator?
No, he was not. He was actually a psychiatrist. Yeah, so maybe he was in my head more than I realized. But he was just very insightful, very wise, and said, teaching, you'll always have a job, and you can always use your music. And so just consider it. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up deciding that when I finished my elementary certification, I was going to go into special ed. And I used my music throughout my whole teaching career.
I had a guitar in my classroom all the time.
Absolutely. So it was just a great thing. And then just a little side story. I remember I was with my mom once, and we were out and about. I don't know where we were. I think we were in Toronto, actually. And there was a gentleman there who clearly had some serious special needs. And I was young at the time. And like any other young person, I kind of started to laugh, not understanding what was happening. And my mom kind of pulled me aside, and she said to me, you know, why are you laughing? I said, I don't really know. You know, it's just kind of different. She said, well, I just want you to think about something. I want you to think about, do you think if that person had a choice to be able like you are, or to have special needs, what would be their choice? And would you want to have those challenges? And she said, so just be thinking about those things kind of as you move forward. And so that also spawned my desire to just think about working with people who just needed support and needed assistance. And it was just it really had an impact on me. So
someone wise, but wasn't a relative, said to me, if you're going to go into education, specialize.
Right.
And I said, well, what do you mean specialize? Well, don't be, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being an elementary teacher or high school teacher, but it was, her recommendation was get like us, dual certified, get something that you can take with you anywhere in the country. And so, do you know what I was going to be?
No.
Think about me being on TV and people laugh at me every week, I'm sure, because I get these announcements and I'm going, blah, 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 blah. I sound like Worky Pig. I was going to be a speech therapist.
Oh, okay. I was going to say stand-up comedian.
Stand-up comedian, yeah. Don't give up the day job on that one. But anyways, but then I got this part-time job doing some like second shift work at the Cannellation Center up in Buffalo, making ribbons. And then I was working side by side with students, young adults with Down syndrome and cerebral palsy and that, and I'm going like, this is fascinating.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
I always like psychology and stuff like that. Well, anyways, we digress. But the whole thing was that I was immersed somehow, and like you, this is interesting. So I went into special education, and the rest is history. And you and I talked about this recently. I said, you know, I found out somewhere along the line that whether it's a corporation or if it's be a superintendent or leadership roles, people actually look for people that worked in special education because the skill set is totally different sometimes than people in other fields. And I'm not making this up. I'm not saying it's true, but I've been told that. And when I look around and I talk to people, they say, yeah, I have a background in special ed, or da-da-da. And you go, oh, wow, you know, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it opens up your eyes to the diversity in this world and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, too, I also, of course, went on, like you did, to get my doctorate at University of Buffalo.
What were we thinking?
Well, it took me the whole 10 years to get it.
Mine was 3.5, but that was,
Yeah, well, I had traveled to UB and, you know, finally finished it in the midnight hour, really, truthfully. But, you know, we were working full-time, too. It's not like we weren't working. So
I sat my family down and I said, I'll see. I'm not going to see you on weekends.
Exactly.
You know, because that's the way my program was through Walden. And well, anyways, congratulations on a really cool career.
Well, thank you.
In Amherst is no small potatoes. How many kids were there?
About 3,500 kids.
Oh, about the same as Ripley. 3,500 kids.
About 400.
That's more people. That's more. 280 Jeff said. That's more kids than we have people in Ripley. You know, that's
400 staff.
My gosh,
I had a lot of great help.
Yeah.
I really did. I mean, unlike small school where you really have to do a lot of the work, in a larger school you at least have staff that you can delegate. And I had a great administrative team and great support. So.
Okay, so then you retire for 9 years. What'd you do for the first 8?
Well, I worked for a non-for-profit called the Western New York Educational Service Council. I was their executive director.
Okay, what do they do?
They primarily provide, well, they do a couple things. They promote leadership, so they're very active in taking young or middle-aged educators who want to look at leadership and providing programs and support for those people to be successful in leadership. They provide a ton of consultant work. You know, you hear about these studies going on, whether they're efficiency studies. We went through a lot of merger studies.
1 or 2 or 3 or 10.
Yep, and I think the Service Council was one of the organizations that we contracted with one of the years.
That's right. Yeah, I remember them guys.
Yep, that was pre-me. That was before I was in that role.
Right.
So they do that kind of work. They run administrative leadership groups, all kinds of things. So I was basically the executive director there for almost 3 years. Then I took a little break And then I became a consultant for them. I stepped away from the executive directorship. For example, I do things like for one local school district, I help with their teacher evaluations.
Oh, sure.
Still. So it's kind of nice. It still keeps my hands
Yeah.
into it
Yeah.
and the whole bit. And then, as you know, now I'm just entering my second year as town supervisor of our town of Ripley.
We're going to talk about that here in a second. So you've been in education for a long time, but you keep active, you know.
I do.
So you and I ran into each other at one point, and you said that you were considering running for town supervisor, and I gave you my comments and so forth, and said I'd be supportive because I was town historian at the time,
Right.
and having been a town councilman, I kind of knew what to expect. And Doug Bowen and I had worked closely on lots of projects, as well as the other councilmen, not just me. So, what was your thinking at that time? I mean, were you approached? Did you say, "Whoa, geez, when I was growing up as a young girl, I always thought that I'd like to be a town supervisor"?
No, I can't say that at all. Well, you know what? I had the time. And so I was approached. I was approached by a couple community members who asked me if I would consider it. And my initial gut response was, I'm not sure whether I want to or not. And then I was approached again. I know that, Doug Bowen, he was ready to move on. That was one of the main reasons too.
Yeah.
Is that he was ready to move on, and he was ready to get involved in some other things. And he had been there a long time.
10 years as supervisor, yeah.
Correct. So I gave it some consideration, and I was actually looking for some things. I mean, I do some other things. I'm a volunteer in the local fire department. I help with the community food bank. I do help do the food pantry that's located at the town hall. And I try to do some other things, but I really felt like you, I need to be busy. I like to do things. And I was hopeful that perhaps my background and some of my leadership skills could bring something to our little town to just continue to see it grow and do things.
We're going to pick up on the town supervisor in a minute, but I want to go back to a couple things you mentioned. So you're in the fire department. What do you do there?
I'm an EMT.
Really?
Yes, I am, in our local fire department.
This is EMT, emergency
medical technician.
Okay, so what'd you have to do for that?
I had to go to school, actually right in this building.
Okay.
I took classes.
Down the hall?
Yep, down the hall, and you have to take a state test to pass the test.
Is it hard?
And it is pretty challenging.
Really?
Yep, it's a lot of technical stuff. It has a lot to do with just medical background. And
life and death,
so
death stuff, right?
It can be, very much so. I started as a social member, and then I just decided that this was something I was interested in.
Social member is like what? Just,
you help with things that are going on. You do things
make coffee and
that, or help with fundraisers.
Okay,
go to the meetings,
the background stuff.
Clean around the hall, stuff like that, whatever they need.
So now you go to fires?
Yeah, I go to fires. I go
You
on
got the
emergency
turnout gear?
calls.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, bunker gear. I have the bunker gear. I go to fires. I primarily do like the rehab part, which is when you're at a fire. The firemen are exposed, obviously, to a lot of smoke and other things, so they come to the ambulance. They're required so many times during that period of fighting a fire to go in and check in the ambulance and make sure that their vitals are good. So that's primarily what I do at fires. I don't have the heavy-duty fire training like some people do. I'm more on the medical side of it.
Oh, wow.
That's really been my interest, is
So
to be on the medical side of it.
is that kind of harrowing at times? I mean,
It can be.
I mean, I'm envisioning, a 2 o'clock in the middle of the night snowstorm and it's blowing, and there you are trying to do something.
Yeah, it can be.
Thank you for your service on that, especially.
You bet. We have a lot of really good people
Yeah.
who are very dedicated.
Yeah.
And it can be very challenging at times, but very rewarding.
I try to mention this from time to time because obviously I'm supportive of these fire departments. Did I ever tell you I was a fire commissioner?
Yes, you did. You sure did.
I didn't fight fires. I was just like on the board of directors there, and I think I was the only non-fireman there.
Right.
And they would talk about, I used to call them SCUBAs, SCBAs, or whatever we call those air tanks.
Yeah.
And because I made up names because I didn't know what the heck they were. So I was a fire commissioner, I think about 3 years or something like that. And I just can't thank fire departments and any department, whether it's paid or volunteer. I mean, and I know, especially, and I'm tooting our own horn here for Ripley, is I know that they do a lot of mutual aid on both sides of the state line, right? Over into Northeast and over into Westfield and Brockton and so forth. And they come to us as well, but I know that Ripley has a pretty good complement of volunteers, and it's really quite active.
Yeah, we right now have 9 EMTs on staff, which is
And you
really,
have 2 firehouses, right? One in South Ripley and
correct.
one in Ripley. So it's a pretty big geographical area to cover.
It is. Yeah, we're pretty proud of the fact that we really cover 100% of our calls. So obviously when there's fires, we have to have mutual aid.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty
So,
exciting.
so how long have you been an EMT?
I've been an EMT 2.5 years. I've been a member of the fire department almost 4 years.
Okay. So I have to do divide this down here or delineate. You're a EMT, not a fire person?
Well, I'm a member of the Ripley Fire Department. I can go to fires, but my primary...
You're not a firefighter.
Yeah,
I guess maybe that's the word.
Yeah,
I'm looking for.
I mean, I can help and I can assist and I can hold hoses and things, but I'm not like interior. I don't have that kind of training.
I remember years ago with Boy Scouts, we took the kids over to the fire training grounds and we grabbed one of those hoses. Holy cow!
Yeah, they're heavy.
It's like, it'll knock you right over.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it takes a little bit of...
We do a lot of outreach though too, so.
Cool. All right, so then the food pantry, what's that all about?
Well, if you've been to the town hall building, obviously, on the far end of the town hall building, we, through Feed America, we have a pantry that services our community. We have all the income guidelines there. Basically, it's on Tuesdays from 2 to 4, and Saturdays from 10 to 12. You can come in, and it's like you're going grocery shopping, basically. We have a lot of different food. We have not only canned food, but we have some produce. We have frozen meats and things like that. And people can come in once a month and get food. And
I could be wrong, but I think it's held in my old office.
Is it really?
Is it the corner office as soon as you turn in that?
Yep,
That's
yep,
my old
right when
office
you come
area.
in. Yep, Phil Shamira really heads that. And so, yeah, it's a great... If you are, and the income guidelines are really quite generous, so we encourage everybody to come down, take a look, see if you qualify. If you're struggling, come, please. We have a lot of food. We have a lot of people in the community who come, and it's really a good service.
So, with your background, you worked next door to us in Westfield for a number of years, and now you're with the fire department, the food pantry. So you pretty much get a sense of the community, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you were approached to be town supervisor. Had you held any political position?
Nope.
So this was your first endeavor, and you went up for election and lost.
I did. I did.
First time I ever ran for a school board, my first political position, I lost, and then after that, I won like the next 10 of them
Yeah.
or whatever. But then there was, and we won't go into it all, but there was some interesting events that took place where there was a vacancy for that position.
Correct.
And then you were appointed.
Yes, I was approached by a board member and asked whether or not I would reconsider coming on board, and so I said, well, I was interested to begin with, so why wouldn't I do it now? That didn't matter to me. I had quite a bit of support, just not enough support to win the election.
It was quite a turnout, as I recall.
It really
Lots
was.
of people voted that year.
Yes, a lot of people came out and voted that year. So I said, you know what? And it was only an appointment for a year.
Yeah.
So it was a great way, too, for me to find out and to see what kind of support I would have from the community. And then once the year was up, I decided to run again. And
So
now,
let's go back to what you just said. You were going to determine kind of the support of the community. So what was it like in your first year?
huge learning curve, I have to say. But I have to say the people in the community were supportive. They were appreciative. They were grateful that I was willing to step up and do that. But as you can imagine, there was just so much to learn. But fortunately, Doug Bowen agreed to come on as my deputy and able to, assist me and transition me at the beginning of it, because there was just a lot.
That doesn't happen very often.
No, it really doesn't. Well, I had lost those couple of months prior to taking the position. Usually you would have all of November and all of December. I didn't have the luxury of having that. So he agreed to stay on and give me that level of support. So that was very, very helpful. It was, just kind of learning the systems, understanding exactly what it was that a town supervisor does. I have to be honest, I really didn't know. I didn't understand the role completely. Getting to not only know the role, but know the people in the offices, understand what their roles were, which was very different from a school district. The dynamics of running a town. So, so it was just in the community. Was very patient with me, and I'm grateful for that. They showed up to meetings, but were very supportive at meetings, appropriately asking questions at meetings. And so I, after a year, I said, you know what, I think I want to at least finish out this term.
And then you ran on a post.
I ran on a post.
So, wow. Well, thank you again for that service, because having been a councilman, like I said earlier, I understand the trials and tribulations of running a town.
Yeah.
And you know what? The fun thing is, a lot of people don't know, we share office space.
I know. It's like going back
So
home.
I have my town historian cabinets. It's like the Berlin Wall, and you can't even see me. I can't even see Lauree. And but we're like tool time. You know, Wilson across the fence.
That's right.
We're talking across the wall.
That's right.
So it's been fun, and I think we've all learned that whatever system we get into. I mentioned being a fire commissioner. That was a big learning curve. I've been on the school board. I'm on the library board. I mean, different boards. Everything has its own alphabet soup. What do you mean by ABC? Well, that's not this anymore. It's the Appalachian. Blah, 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 blah. What is this one? And they have all their things. And I'm still trying to figure out how to write a requisition at the town. I hardly buy anything. And every once in a while, I go to the town clerk, which is different because the town clerk serves so many different roles compared to like in the school system. So what skill set did you bring to the town supervisorship that you think that you had when you walked through the door?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say there are several things. Some of the most basic things are obviously things like budgeting, handling the grants, understanding the role of the state. For example, budgeting, I remember when I went to like a school like Amherst, which was a much larger budget than what we had at Ripley and at Westfield. My sister's an accountant, and she said to me, "Don't get bogged down by that. It's just more zeros."
That's exactly right.
Right? And
yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So what was your budget in Amherst?
About $55 million.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
50? When I left, I think I was at $8 million at Ripley. Ray Fashana, who is over in Jamestown, we used to laugh because if I was at $8 million, he was at $80 million.
Correct.
And if he had 4,000 staff, if he had 1,000 staff, I had 100 staff. We laugh because all I would do is I'd say, Ray, what are you getting for state aid? And he'd tell me, and I say, well, I know what I'm getting. I just move the decimal point.
That's exactly what my sister, just move the decimal point. It's just more zeros. It's all
So you
management.
handled a $55 million budget.
Yep.
So the town of Ripley is not quite that big.
No, about 2 mil.
About 2 mil.
Yeah, right around there. But it's still the same. You still have your line
People are
items.
people,
People are people. You still have what
Services
you
are
need.
services,
You still have your operating budget. You still have your grants that need to be managed. There's just, it's still the same thing. It's just smaller numbers that you're dealing with. So that skill set was helpful. Also, we apply for a lot of grants. And as you know, as the field of special education in particular, we did a lot of grant writing.
Absolutely.
And I did the title funds, which was our remedial services. And so all of that really came into play here. But I think probably the greatest thing, and you can appreciate this, is just the people skills. Understanding people, having listening skills, understanding what people's needs are, and being able to deal with the public and understand where the public is coming from. I always tried to tell people, you never know when you're meeting with somebody what they're coming to the table with, right? You never know what happened 10 minutes before they came to the table. You don't know what's happening in their life before they come to the table to have that conversation with you. So I think just all of that exposure and all of that experience really has helped me in this role as well. And just, general leadership. In a school, you expect that, like as a superintendent. Quite honestly, when I was appointed and then elected to the supervisor position, I didn't realize how that role of leadership really transfers over. You think it's small town. I mean, how much do they really expect you to really stand up and be that person? But I think what you learn is everybody wants that.
Yes.
Whether you're overseeing a town, whether you're overseeing the library, whether you're overseeing the fire department.
Transparency.
Transparency, and everybody wants to know that there is somebody who's paying attention, who's taking that leadership role on, and who's really trying to manage everything so things are going the way that they need to. And so I think having had that background was extremely helpful.
And in this day and age, it still amazes me when I see, and I don't care where it is in the country, I'll just stay in the United States, where you see a mismanagement of an organization, and then when that person moves on and the new person comes in, they go, holy cow, what a mess.
Right.
And then, things are exposed. And so it's difficult to find people. And that's not to say the person that left the position was evil or, had diabolical, purpose. It's just they didn't have the skill set.
Right.
And so we're fortunate that you are, in our case, the town supervisor with that skill set. And I mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about something interesting. Being the town historian, as far as I know, we've had only 2 ladies that were council people.
Okay.
And I believe you're the first and only so far female town supervisor of Ripley.
Yeah.
But that seems to be, fortunately, I think, more of a trend across our communities. I don't know how many, at least 5 or 6 anyways, that are now in leadership position, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really pleased. Well, the same thing happened with the superintendency.
Absolutely.
Right?
It was a good old boy club
Yep,
forever.
Absolutely. And then, you started to see, that's where people like, remember Terry Wolfenden? And,
I do.
Yep,
I
and
knew
Dunkirk?
I knew Terry, yes.
She was one
She
of the
kinda
first
broke the
ones.
glass ceiling, as
she
they say.
certainly did.
Yeah.
And now, then, of course, Peggy Sauer, who
Yep.
was at Westfield. And there were a few others. But now, I think when, the New York State Council of School Superintendents sends out their annual
yeah.
report, I think we're up to maybe 33% of superintendents
Yeah.
are women
That's
now.
wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's
Yeah.
nice to see.
It's good.
Yeah, so I think, it's nice to have that skill set, to
Yeah.
have that happening.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I mention this to you from time to time when we chit chat on Thursday mornings, you and Mike Ferguson, and I just happen to know Mike Ferguson does this as mayor of Fredonia, because Mike and I are friends. We've known each other a long time. But because we're on Facebook and I get social media from Ripley, you folks are putting out daily or every other day, every 3 days, something.
Yeah.
And people are learning, I hope, that shows like this, where we're live, we can talk about stuff right this minute, is important. The newspapers have their version because they can go in a little more in depth of what happened yesterday, and the radio stations can talk about things in the moment. But we all serve a purpose, but social media is almost mainstream news now.
Yeah.
And so you, from day one, I believe, because I remember seeing them, and you can tell us what those sites are in a second. This is what happened to the water main. You need to know that this is going to happen next week. All the railroad crossings and things like that. So how do you approach this? Mike does the same thing, on
Yeah.
Facebook.
A couple different ways. I mean, one, hopefully I'm in touch with things that are happening, but if not, my staff know, my leadership, whether it's the superintendent of the highway or the water or sewer, notify me of things that are happening, our clerk. And so they'll almost daily, send me something and say, hey, Lauree, you might need to just know that this is going on. And so I'll put that on social media. That's one way in which I do it. I also just try to, pay attention to things that are going on. My board is extremely helpful in doing that too. Oftentimes I'll get a phone call from one of my board members who says, hey, Lauree, I think this is going on. Why don't we check into it? Could you put a quick post up? So we do that on the Ripley Believe It or Not page. It's basically their community page. We do not have our own separate Facebook town page, but I feel like when I go on one of those sites, the Ripley Believe It or Not page, or it reaches more people.
Right.
It's already out there.
Why
and,
reinvent the wheel
Why
here?
reinvent the wheel? I just always, as everybody know, preface it from Lauree Pless, town supervisor. That
Yep.
way they know it's kind of an official notice from me. And I just feel like people, they seem to appreciate that. They know what's happening, and I think it's just an important aspect of what
Absolutely.
we do.
I mean, I've seen, like Mike, in Mike's case, and I don't mean to keep talking about Mike, but they've had a lot of issues with water and boiling it. So I know, first thing I'll look at Facebook, and it's 6:30 in the morning. People are alerted. Oh, that's good to know. In your case, I think we talked about, I don't know, weather-related stuff, or be aware of whatever the case is,
Correct.
and or what other topics have you covered? Scams? I can't remember.
Yeah, we had one where some people were going to people's
There you go.
homes.
That's right. That's right. That
and
one.
claiming that they were reading the meters.
Yeah.
And they weren't us.
Yeah.
So we made sure I put something out a couple days in a row that just reminded people that if they were, you would be notified in advance, and they would have their official Ripley tags, and please be aware of that. So that was one. You mentioned the railroads, when they had shut down some of the railroad crossings.
Like
to
all of
redo
them?
Yeah,
All but
did them
one.
all. Yeah, that was challenging to say the least.
Yeah.
But so I made sure that we put that on there and told them, what was happening and which way which areas would be open and which wouldn't be open. The bridge going into Northeast, that's still not repaired
No.
yet, so we wanted to make sure that people knew about that. Almost, even I'll sometimes put reminders about the food pantry, just reminding people that we're giving away holiday baskets. And please make sure that you come down, and if you qualify to get, your holiday basket, that you come down and get your food. Sometimes I'll reiterate things that are going on at the fire department that we're working on, or
Right.
community events
Community
that
event,
we're
Christmas
doing.
time and
Yeah,
Easter. I
Christmas
see that
time,
a lot,
Easter
yeah.
time, the car show that we do in the summer, all of those kinds of things. So it's not just for alertness. It's also just for things that are happening.
And going back to communication, when I think of almost all of our communities, there is no radio station in Ripley.
No,
There's no newspaper
correct.
in Ripley, a hard copy, though we have some online things. I know the library about town, Robin Albright has hers, and we have there's 2 Ripley sites, right? Ripley Alive and Well and
Yep.
Ripley Believe It or Not. Or
Correct,
something.
yep.
So I know people post to that. We don't have TV station. I'm the only one.
Right.
That's if you get cable.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I congratulate you in the idea that you communicate and that we talked about transparency. That's really cool.
The other thing we just instituted too is our mass texting system.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So-
I don't even don't know what that's all about.
Well, basically, it's similar to what a school would do in that when there's something happening, the school will also push out a phone call, but they'll push out a text
that's
message.
what that means.
So it's connected. We
It's like a phone tree.
It's a phone tree. As you know from being in the office, we
Oh,
changed
yeah.
our phone system completely this past year. So we finally went to an automated system.
Did you notice there's no phone on my desk?
I did not know.
But let's leave it that way.
I did not know that.
Don't. It's okay.
Yeah. So basically what we did was we connected the mass texting system to our phone system.
Got it.
And so,
Excellent.
but what you have to do, you have to go to the clerk's office, get a form, fill it out, just hand it right back, and then we'll sign you up for the
Okay.
texting system.
Hang on, we got a phone call.
All righty.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Lauree.
Good morning.
This is Linda Spalding.
Hi, Lynn.
I'm sorry I didn't call the last couple of weeks.
I have missed
really
you.
have.
Missed you terribly.
I'm sorry I missed. And Lauree, it's great to see you on the show, and thank you for coming on. Doc, it's great to have representatives or elected officials.
I try to get a few
coming
on
in
from
talk.
time to time, yeah.
Yes, I think that's great. So, how do you like this terrific warm weather we're having?
Oh my gosh! I think I know you have dogs there. Your dogs have snow paws? They're like snowshoes or anything? They're sliding all over the place.
They're old. One just turned 15, and another one's going to in another week. And they're toy poodles, and they can't take the cold. They shiver.
Yeah, and they're sliding all over. We were talking earlier. Our dogs are like slide this way and that way if you're on a little slope and that. So
I know it. It's been so icy.
Yeah.
But they've been very good in Chautauqua, keeping the they put sand down, and it's really good stuff, and they keep it really, really clean.
Oh, whoever's
I
been
live
working
on a
the
very-
roads all over the county have done a great job. I don't envy that job at all. Oof.
Yeah, no, especially this year. It's been so hard,
Yeah,
so hard.
tough winter. Okay, you got any fundraisers coming up or anything?
Not that I know of, except that Jeff Winton from Chautauqua Rural
Mines. Yeah, Jeff's been on the show here. Yeah.
He's going to be coming to the Chautauqua Community Dinner
Good.
at the community hall at Hurlbut Church for a special event, and the Lions Club members are going there, and we're going to thank him and greet him and give him some money.
Oh, awesome. Jeff is just an outstanding human being and is doing great work in our communities.
Oh, it's great work.
Yeah, he's
great
doing a
work.
good job.
And we've gotten new members in our Lions Club because of that watch party that we had.
Good.
And the connection with Jeff. And Jeff continues to get gifts from the community.
Great.
From people connected with our group.
Great.
So,
All right. Well, keep up the good work, Lynn, and it's always good to hear from you. Happy Valentine's Day.
yes. You too. Happy
Okay.
Valentine's Day. And who are you cheering for on Sunday?
Philadelphia.
Oh, Philadelphia? Yeah, I am too. Yeah.
No other
But,
choice.
it's,
Casey's.
you know,
they've had their share. It's time to pass it on.
I'm in
yes,
mourning.
it is. Yes. I like Patrick Mahone, but I wouldn't mind seeing him cry. It's terrible, isn't it?
Well, and we got a county connection with the Siriannis, so it's awesome.
Yes, Giuliani. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be
So,
cheering like you.
Okay. Have a great weekend.
Okay, Lynn. Thanks for calling. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye now. That was fun. Lauree,
Yes.
any surprises that when you walked in as town supervisor, like, holy cow, I didn't sign up for this. I used to get those whenever I
Yeah.
changed jobs. Like, oh my God, what did I get myself into here?
I think, you know what, I think the volume of paperwork I didn't expect. Quite honestly, I figured small town, but everything. I should have anticipated that that's how it would be. But, structurally, when you look at how a town is organized and the governmental structure and everything, I should have anticipated that there was going to be, the resolutions and all of those kinds of things that just really kind of follow you, and just the requirements at the state level and at the federal level. And, I guess I didn't realize how much paperwork it would be and how much follow-up it would be.
And again, it doesn't matter what organization you are. If you are in the public service, the form is the form.
Correct.
And whether you got $1 million, $100 million budget, it's still the form.
It's still the form.
And if you're a $2 million budget, it's the same
Correct.
form. And people don't realize that. And you're on a skeleton crew there. You don't have an assistant or anything like that. So, I mean, you are it.
Yeah.
You are the executive branch.
As I always say, I don't have my Debbie. Debbie was my
Karen and Marie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're absolutely right. So that, that's pretty challenging, and just kind of keeping up with all that and keeping it organized and, using the attorney, all of those kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, moving forward into the future, if you had your crystal ball, what are some things you're working towards in Ripley?
Well, there's a few things people are aware of. Of course, the oncoming solar project is a big project that we're hoping is going to get off the ground in the next year. We're hopeful that's going to happen. Like Loves, we have our new Onvo project, which is a service plaza that is being built down.
What's it called?
Well, it's being built by Onvo, O-N-V-O, that's the company, and it's just another service plaza.
Where's that going to be?
Down by where the Lion's Den currently is, off of Shortman Road. They're hoping that they're going to start to break ground in the fall, and it will be a full service center with gas stations. We're not sure which fast food restaurant yet. They haven't announced it, but inside they're also going to have a sit-down cook to order.
Really?
Yep, where you can go in and get sandwiches and salads and things like that, so that'll be nice.
And that's coming this fall?
Well, they're going to break ground this fall. It'll be a whole nother year, really, till it's done.
And it's going to be in that same plaza there?
It will be, in that same area across the street. Down further, though, where the Lion's Den is. And then, of course, the big news with support of the IDH, Chautauqua County, is the shovel-ready site that's also going in on Shortman Drive. And that is a 9,000 square foot area where they're hoping to have some kind of a warehouse come in there.
Okay.
So they were hoping to get $17 million in funding. They're at about $16 million right now.
Woo, that's close enough.
It can still happen. They might have to scale it back if they don't get the last mill just on some of the roads and things like that. But that would be a great kudos for our area. They're looking at 300 to 400 jobs potentially. They're hopeful that it would be something that would really bring a lot of revenue into the area.
And that's a perfect location.
It's a perfect
location.
location.
It's not near residential area.
Yep.
You got the Thruway 5 and 20, and you got Loves there, and if this other place is going to be there.
Yep.
And housing and things are relatively feasible for folks.
And to bring it around full circle, once we have all those things, it just opens up so many opportunities for us to rebuild on Main Street, for our housing, to be available, to start to look at some of those things. So we're hopeful. We're very hopeful.
All right, so a lot of good things going on in Ripley, and thank you for taking that role.
You bet.
So, and I get to record all the historical things that you're doing.
I'll just be a
hysterical and historical.
I'll be that picture for the next historian.
There you go. So, Lauree, thanks for being my guest today. We're down to like the last half minute, 45 seconds. So, if people want to get a hold of you or stop and see you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yep, they can call our office. They can Ripley TS, Town Supervisor, at fairpoint.net is my email.
TS, okay.
Ripley TS at fairpoint.net, so they can reach me that way. I'm almost always in the buildings Tuesdays and Thursdays from like 10 to 3. So the town building, if you want to come see me and talk to me, that's where I am.
And the town building is in the former, or no, it's in the school building,
Yep, the other
but it's in
side.
the former wing of the Ripley Central School,
Correct.
in the circle area there, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then our town board meetings are second Thursday of the month, starting at 6:30.
All right.
So we look forward to seeing people come.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to about do it for today. And I do want to thank Lauree Pless, Town Supervisor of Ripley, for being my guest today. And folks, for those of you that are watching, I hope you have a nice Valentine's Day and do something special. And this is an example, today's show, of getting involved with your communities and stepping up to some political offices, some elected offices. So I hear the music. That tells me we're about done. There it is. Thanks, Lauree.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Come back sometime.
I will. I'd love to.
We'll come back and talk about some of these projects, see where they're at.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, have a great weekend and root for whatever team you want. It doesn't matter. I don't have any money in it. I don't have any stock in either team, but just have fun because you remember football is entertainment. Okay, so don't be too depressed. All right, take care. Stay warm. We'll see you next time. Bye bye now.